Hey guys, welcome back to Spiggs Gaming, and today I'm going to be reacting to another Halo lore video. Does Halo kill the Flood? So I'm actually watching this from a new YouTube channel that I discovered. It's called Halo Canon. I've heard it I've seen it like floating around on YouTube and stuff like that, but I've never actually watched any videos from this channel. So this is going to be my first one. So let's get into it.
Does Halo kill the Flood? This is a question that fans have been asking since the earliest days of the franchise, and one that can be understandably confusing, especially given how Halo CE originally described how Halo worked.
Halo doesn't kill Flood, it kills their food. Humans, Covenant, whatever. We're all equally edible. The only way to stop the Flood is to starve them to death. And that's exactly what Halo is designed to do. Wipe the galaxy clean of all sentient life.
And how later depictions of Halo's operations were depicted. Naturally, I could give a straightforward answer and basically end the video in a couple minutes. But that's no fun, right? Let's talk about how the explanation of the Halo effect has changed and evolved along with the franchise. Naturally, we'll start by circling back to that quote from Halo CE. After meeting with Guilty Spark, the player and Master Chief are told that the only way to stop the Flood outbreak that we've been experiencing is to activate the Halo weapon. Then, after retrieving the activation index and returning to the control room, Cortana suddenly shocks us with the truth. Halo doesn't kill the Flood, it kills their food, sentient life. It's not only a great twist, but one with a rather terrifying implication. The Flood is such a virulent organism, it cannot be killed at a large enough scale with conventional weaponry. The only way to defeat the Flood for good is to starve them of any food source, meaning to wipe the entire galaxy clean of sentient life.
We already knew this.
That's it, right? That's the answer. All life is killed and the Flood starve over, a few centuries? Seems rather simple. Even when Halo 2 came along, it basically reiterated the same point.
Weapons of last resort, built by the Forerunners to eliminate potential Flood hosts, thereby rendering the parasite harmless.
But then we get to Halo 3. At the end of the game, when the Chief and Arbiter find Installation 08, the replacement ring for Installation 04, Chief decides to light it. Overjoyed, Spark exclaims,
A tactical pulse will completely eradicate the local infestation.
And suddenly Halos can kill the Flood? Eradicate, as Spark puts it. Granted, he is talking about a tactical pulse, which is technically different from how the rings normally operate, but the only difference is that a tactical pulse is a single ring firing as opposed to the entire array.
I love the driving
So
scene at the end of
functionally
the
the
game.
same as what Spark wanted in CE, and what almost happened in Halo 2, just on a, relatively speaking, smaller scale. 50,000 light years as opposed to 3 radii from galactic center. Adding to the confusion, though, later depictions of the Halo effect would show the Flood actually being killed by it, even wiped away. So what gives? Was Cortana simply mistaken in CE? Was something retconned? Let's dive in. The Halo array works by sending out a harmonic pulse that will destroy the nervous system of any sentient life, from sapient forms like human and Sangheili down to less intelligent life, i.e. animals. This includes Flood forms, even pure forms. Pure forms may have been crafted from raw biomass rather than infected existing bodies, but they still use a nervous system. Thus, the Flood are affected and killed by the Halo effect. What the rings don't kill, however, are the more rudimentary Flood forms, such as Flood spores and, more notably, the Flood supercell. When an organism is infected by the Flood, Flood supercells will rapidly capture and interface with host cells, metabolizing them, breaking them down, and reassembling them into more Flood cells. And that process repeats until the body is completely infected. These Flood cells, closely resembling neurons and glial cells, are described as thinking muscle and can mimic any organ needed for an infected host to operate. These, and again the other simple Flood forms, are what need to starve, so to speak, after the array is fired. So even if a Flood form has been killed, the Flood supercells that make up its body are still active and virulent, and any Flood environments, similar to what we see in Halo 3, would still be a threat. Granted, it's much more difficult for the Flood to infect something with these more rudimentary forms, but they're still viable infectors. So, does Halo kill the Flood? Yes. but it leaves behind plenty of raw flood biomass that can represent a threat to any life being reseeded after an array firing. Biomass that must be allowed to, quote, starve to death. This is what Cortana meant back in CE, or at least this is what it has come to mean. However, there's one last part of this story to tell. While the rings do kill Flood and any life with a nervous system, they still leave their remaining bodies intact despite what common depictions may show. To avoid having to wait for years for the biomass, flood or otherwise, to decompose, and to avoid any ecological disaster in the wake of so much rotting flesh, planets that were due to be reseeded were sprayed with a solute. The solution would cause the recently dead to instantly decay into their component molecules, something that we actually saw visualized in the Halo CEA terminals before it was even mentioned in the books. But there you go. The function of Halo explained, from where it started to where it is now.
That was interesting. Like, and I didn't, and I never noticed that from Halo CE to Halo 3. I never noticed that when Spark said that to Chief. Huh. That is really cool. Like, it didn't even dawn on me that they could do that. Like, that was an option, because like you said, in Halo CE, it was said by Cortana, and then in Halo 2, it was just, confirmed even more that it was like that. That the rings would only kill its food, meaning any living thing in the galaxy. That's really cool, though. But that also makes sense with, like, it does kill the Flood, but it leaves behind certain things. But man, that was pretty cool. Okay, everybody, that is it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, then be sure to smash the like button, because it'll help the channel tremendously. Comment down below what you guys think of this video, and be sure to subscribe if you guys haven't already, and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I post videos, so you do not miss me playing any more video games or doing any more reactions just like this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye, everybody.